Hello, everyone. Sorry for this little glitch. This is Ruler in Peace, Imperium Rex. And I decided to do this impromptu live because I was processing some things this morning and I was fixing lunch for fixing lunch and I realized I was having some feelings that people don't talk about. Don't talk about unlifing ourselves. Don't talk about those moments when you feel like you just want to give up, when you feel like you're ready to quit, when you're just tired of the pain in your life. And you know what? Sometimes you can feel those feelings and it don't make any sense. It really doesn't. What's going on in your world is not so drastic, not so miserable that you have to like check out, but it feels so real and it feels so powerful. And there are times when there's no one to talk to about it because everyone will just think that you're weak. Everyone will just think, what's wrong with you to even think about having a suicidal ideation? There must be something wrong with you if you think about checking out. You can't even talk about it. You can't confess it. If you do, you're weak, you're broken, there's something wrong with you. So, for us vets out there with PTSD, and you don't have to have served in the military, you don't have to have gone through something war torn situations, but trauma regardless, physical assault, sexual assault, verbal abuse, neglect. We all have PTSD to some degree in our lives, probably because we all have been through so much trauma, at least a great majority of us, let alone us military folks, us people who have fought, us people of color, us women, sexual assault, molestation, just being beat down for being a woman, men of color, condemned because of the color of your skin, condemned because you want to be understood, you want to be heard, you want to be validated. You don't want someone who happens to be Caucasian to invalidate your life experience, to invalidate what it feels like to be watched by the police. Every time you turn around, you walk into an apartment store and security targets on you, regardless of how you dress, because they just assume if you're in the wrong, if in a particular type of store, they may assume you don't have the income. All of these things take a toll over a period of time. And no one has the ability and no one has the opportunity to stop and say, you know what, I'm hurting. You know what? This life is painful sometimes. Sometimes it hurts to be alive. And sometimes you think it would just be better off just not to play this game anymore. See, I know what it's like because I've been there before in my life. I don't know if you ever saw the movie The Green Mile, but it's one of those movies that I really like with Tom Hanks, and I can't remember the big brother. It's like who played John Coffey, who passed away later. It's like, but there was this dilemma because Mr. Coffey was accused of doing some heinous things. He was guilty because of the color of his skin. He was guilty because he was size. He was guilty because he was found holding the victims that he was trying to save. But by appearance, even though he was crying as he was holding those baby girls. All the angry mob could see was a monster. And he was convicted, and they hated him, and they threw him on death row, and he was going to be electrocuted. But in the midst of this movie, they found out that this man is innocent. And more than that, he was angelic. More than that, he had a special gift. And so Tom Hanks, the prison guard, he came into a dilemma. He had a dilemma because he discovered the truth. And then he was confronted with, what do I do? I'm supposed to execute one of God's angels. And he comes to John and goes, John, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Because I'm afraid. I'm afraid to stand before my maker. I'm afraid to stand before God Almighty. And he asked me, why did I kill one of his angels? And Mr. Coffee said something that stuck with me, and it's stuck with me all these years. It's been over a decade. Because I'm tired, boss. I'm tired of never going where I'm going from, or going to, or not having a friend, even to lean up against in the mud, or tired of all the hate, and I'm tired of all the pain. I'm tired of all the hurt. I'm just tired, bud. It's this kindness you'll be doing me because it's like glass and it's just scratching and itching and it just hurts so much. And I've known that feeling. I've known that feeling of when, you know what? You know it'll get better. You know that there's light at the end of the rainbow or the end of the tunnel, but you don't care anymore. The pain is just so great and you just want it to stop. You want the pain to stop. But let me tell you something. It's just that pain, and it's temporary. But I know what it feels like. And I decided to come on this thing. It's like impromptu. It's like, and I'm streaming right now on Instagram, and I'm streaming on my YouTube channel, and who knows where else. I think that X doesn't allow streaming anymore unless you pay for it. But because I know that somewhere, whether it be today or somewhere, there are a lot of people who understand what I'm talking about and don't have anybody to hear them. I don't have anybody to listen to them. I don't have anybody. And somebody just committed suicide right now. Somewhere in the world, someone just killed themselves. I don't know what the statistics are. I could Google it real quick. It's like, let's Google real quick. What are the statistics of how often, how often does someone commit suicide each day? The average adjusted suicide rate in 2022 was 14.21 per 100,000 individuals. Men died by suicide 3.85 times more. How often does someone commit suicide? To see if I have a better number that I can break it down to. That's one death every 11 minutes. Think about that. Approximately every 11 minutes before this podcast is over, or this isn't a podcast, this is just a stream. But before this stream is over, whether it lasts about 15 minutes or it lasts 22 minutes, 1 to 2 people around the globe will have killed themselves. Now, I said when I started this live that I would share why the mind plays tricks when emotions run high. And, the answer is kind of obvious, but maybe not. Our brains are wired for survival, not truth. Think about that. Our brains are wired for survival, not truth. And when emotions spike, logic shuts down. You heard it. It's like when you get angry, when you get upset, you become like 50% dumber, literally. It's like because the blood flows away to your important organs and you literally get a little dumber and slower. So fear takes over. Pain distorts. It distorts perception. It magnifies the problems, making them feel permanent and inescapable. Inescapable. Isolation fuels illusions. And when you're hurting, when your mind convinces you that no one understands or cares, you start to get dingy down. You start to think some really strange and weird things. But remember, your thoughts are not facts. Just because you feel it doesn't mean it's real or forever. I'm going to repeat that. Just because you feel it doesn't mean it's real and forever. So, you know, no one really tells you about surviving the storm because we don't talk about it. We hush. We say you can call that 911, or not 911, what is it, the 1-800 crisis number if you're in the United States, but wherever you are in the globe, you can call that number and someone will be there to listen to you, try to talk you down. Sometimes a voice. There have been times in my life I just had to spend the night on someone's couch because I felt really unsafe. I realized I didn't know I had PTSD. I didn't know I'd been carrying PTSD. It's like from my early military days. I didn't realize and I didn't understand why I had suicidal ideation. Think about suicide so often, just stupid reasons to kill myself just because I want to be angry. I'm angry at someone. I just want to get back. I want to get back at someone. I want someone else to feel pain. So I'm going to kill myself and get back at them. They're going to feel it. Sounds logical at the time, but it's stupid. It really isn't very smart. But I've been there. I felt that way. But let me tell you something. Like I said, most people don't tell you about how to survive the storm. The storm is always temporary, no matter what you're going through. It's always temporary. But your choices, my choices, your choices, shape what comes after, truly shapes what comes after. Pain convinces you that it will last forever, but it won't. Pain convinces you that it will last forever, but it won't. I have been through so much pain. I have been in pain because of the color of my skin. I have been in pain because of my intelligence. I've been in pain because of my perceived lack of intelligence. I have been in pain because I was sexually assaulted. I was in pain because I was forcefully penetrated. I was in pain because I have been defiled. I was in pain because I would settle for less and let people treat me like shit. Let people treat me like shit to try to fit in, try to belong, to want to be accepted for who I am, whether it be as a child, as a young man, in the military, as a lawyer. The fucking how painful it can be. It's like you show up for court and you're in a suit. You've practiced law for years. You graduated from law school. You circled in the highest spheres of influence. And someone says, boy, where's your lawyer? Or you're driving down the street, the same thing. Driving down the street. I remember one time I was in Dartmouth. Dartmouth? Yeah, it was Dartmouth. Or was it Cornell? No, it was Dartmouth. It was Dartmouth. It's in New Hampshire. I was visiting some friends, and it was late at night. I'd never been there before, and I was actually going the wrong way down a wrong way. Going the wrong way down a one-way road. And of course, there was a local police officer or sheriff or whatever who saw me, pulled me over, but he addressed me as boy. I didn't get a ticket, gave me a warning, all that stuff, but it was boy. I'm in college. I'm not a boy. I'm a man. But the presumption, this shit hurts and it adds up over time. And it adds up and it adds up and it adds up one disrespect after another. So that finally one day The wrong police officer says the wrong thing at the wrong time, and you fucking snap and you lose your mind. And now you're in trouble because fuck, they've got you. Or your woman says the wrong thing and you don't want to strike out. I've never hit a woman in my life, but some men have. Strike out in anger, pain, lash out verbally, physically, emotionally. Same thing with you women out there. Maybe one guy was just a little bit too fresh, or had been so disrespectful or so rude to you and so many times, as maybe someone you liked was just trying to compliment you. But you heard it the wrong way, and you felt dirty, and so you acted like a bitch. Acted, not are, but acted. Pain is something I can talk about. Pain is something I know a lot about. Look at this body. I carry 309 pounds of pain. Actually, 120 pounds of extra pain. Sedating myself. Sedating myself from the pain of life, the pain of trying to fit in, practicing law, wanting to be great, wanting to be spectacular, but not feeling good enough and always feeling like everyone's greater, even though I've reached the sphere of influence and I'm part of councils and I'm a commissioner and I'm this and I'm that, but I feel this big, never feeling like I belong, never feeling good enough, always feeling less than. Do you know what I mean? Have you been there? It hurts. It's a painful place to be. It's a lonely place to be. It's an unbearable place to be sometimes. But I'm still here, no matter the efforts to try to kill myself. It's like, can't see. It's like, did this scar? No, here it is. My eyes are all watery, but there's a little scar right here. One time I took a serrated knife and as hard as I could, should have cut my wrist off, but for some reason God didn't want me to check out and it barely broke the skin. Another time I took enough sleeping pills to kill a horse, so the doctor said, but somehow I survived. One time I was in the Philippines, I was going through some shit after is like my situation with the bar exam and me finally getting off of that merry-go-round, but not the way I wanted it to. And then being betrayed by my girlfriend at the time, my fiance at the time, and having had her cheat and get pregnant by another guy. And I was just hurting. And I was just sick. I was like John Coffey, tired, just tired, boss. And so what did I do? I went on Google and Googled how to make a hangman's noose because I was going to hang myself. I didn't know how to make a hangman's noose, no joke. So I went on to Google and I learned how. And I made a noose. And I bought a rope, bought a long enough rope. And I prepared this night I was going to kill myself. I actually made an NFT of the image I would end up taking as I finished the story off. I made this hangman's noose, right? Learned how to make this hangman's noose. And then I was preparing everything. And so I was going to hang myself as like I was staying in the province. Nobody around to see me, a place where I could be secluded, mountains in the background. And so I found the rope and a place to hang the rope over and a chair and got everything all set up. And I was just taking care of some last minute things. And when I drank enough beer, Red Horse. When I drank enough Red Horse, I decided, okay, I'm going to do this thing. I got up and started to walk towards the noose. And the craziest thing, The noose was silhouetted. There's a mountain in the background. There's a full moon, and the noose is a silhouette. And between the location of the moon, the silhouette, backdrop of the mountain, the rice paddies. It was just such a picturesque. The artist inside of me had to stop and run and get my camera. I was gonna kill myself, seriously. But I had to take this picture. But fortunately for me, someone had stole my tripod. It was like a couple of months before. So I didn't have a tripod to get a good picture. And it was a low light situation, and the camera had to be held steady. So I'm doing all this stuff, holding the camera like, oh, you can't really see me. Hold on, let me just step this down for a second. Holding the camera pressed against my body. Then I'm trying to press it against this wall. I'm trying to do all these things. It's like to get the camera situated and still long enough to take this picture. And I make several attempts before I'm finally successful. But with all the energy and time and effort it took to finally get a picture that I was happy with, the desire to kill myself had passed. The intensity of that moment had passed. And I said, screw it. And I didn't kill myself. And the next day I ended up composing a song titled I Know Who I Am. In the Web 3.0 NFT era, I actually created an NFT with that image and that song. It's probably off of the marketplace at this particular moment, but it's still minted. And eventually, when I pay attention to NFTs and crypto again, I'll make it live again, and they'll be part of one of my collections that can be purchased that has significant meaning to me. But it was a situation where time diffused the situation, and the desire to unlife myself passed. You don't need a solution right now. Is the other thing that most people won't tell you. You don't need a solution right now, just movement. My movement was fiddling around with that camera trying to take that picture. Small actions shift momentum, and stagnation feeds the darkness. It could be momentum to try to solve your problem, but like I said, when you're really in the middle of it, you're just dumbed down and just not feeling good and not thinking good, and you're not thinking properly. But staying in that moment and keeping my state the way it was, my physiology the way it was, my focus where it was, the language I was telling myself where it was, that created this stagnant moment in time. But that break from my physiology and my focus and the language going on in my head while trying to take that picture, that gave me the break I needed on that particular day, not to end my life. There was another time I was going to try to kill myself because I told you it's suicidal ideation because of my PTSD. It's like I've had many times to entertain, act upon, until I really realized it wasn't that I really wanted to die. I just wanted the pain to stop. I just really wanted the pain to stop. And I can't speak for you, but I would guess there are times you just really want the pain to stop. And you're looking for a quick fix in this game of instant gratification, instant relief, drugs, alcohol, food, sex, death, pills, overdose, or just get so freaking high that you just can't feel and you become comfortably numb, as Pink Floyd would say. Silence is our enemy, babe. Silence is our enemy, Bo. Silence. the more you keep it in, the stronger the temptation, the desire to unlife oneself can become. You've got to open up. You've got to let this shit out. You've got to, or it will take you out. You know something that I discovered in this life? There's strength in surrender. There's strength in saying, I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know when, but I know that there is a way, that everything is always working out for me. That if I've made it this far, I can make one more step. If God has brought me this far, however one defines God, God can take me the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. And I can get from this pit that I'm in to this peak, and I can map out and identify where I am and think and refocus about where I want to be. Where I am and where I want to be. There is this gap. And there are people. Sometimes you pay them, like a transitional coach like me, transformational coach like me, who will help sit with you in your pit, sit with you in your pain, sit with you in your stress. And I have functioned in the highest spheres all the way to the White House and to the State Department and to the United Nations. We're a grass hut in a village in the middle of nowhere. I've made more money than I knew what to do with, and I've been as broke and homeless and lived in a car. I know your pain no matter where you are in the spectrum, because I've been there. And pain doesn't spare any of us, no matter how rich you are or how poor you are. The advantage, though, is that those who have money have the ability to hire more powerful coaches. But that's why my lives are free. That's why I put out free content for those who just don't have the ability to be able to afford a premium coach. Because everybody needs to hear you're not alone. Everybody needs to hear that you can beat this. Not only can you beat this, the voices may never stop. You may have to do like that movie, A Beautiful Mind, if you ever saw it. It's like the guy had schizophrenia, I believe it is, but eventually he figured out a way to realize reality from imagination. And the voices were always there, the images were always there, but he could differentiate. And they lived a great life until him and his wife died, I believe, in a car accident. But you got to be able to surrender and let go of control. Let go of the control. Stop trying to be in control. Stop thinking that you are in control. And accept that God, however you define God, however God has revealed God, however God has revealed itself to you, is saying, I love you. If you follow the biblical tradition, it says, love God with all of your heart, with all of your mind, with all of your soul, all of your strength. Love God. That's what God asks of us for a reason. Because God, from the Christian perspective and from other perspectives, says, I created you in my image. I created you. So that means that I'm in you. So if you love me with all of your heart, with all of your mind, with all of your soul, and with all of your strength, if you love me that much, then you've got to love yourself because you're made of me. And why is that so important? Because there's a second commandment in the Christian faith in particular, but I would argue in all of them, and that is to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Now, our problem is most of us don't love ourselves. Most of us don't like ourselves. Most of us look in the mirror and can't stand the reflection. We don't like what we become. We know that we're less than. We know that we're living a lower version of ourselves than we were born to. We feel such dissatisfaction. So we sedate and we sedate and we sedate and we cheat and we lie. We lie to ourselves and we lie to others. We continue to lie to ourselves and we lie to others. And so we sedate and we sedate and we sedate. And then we're not real with the facts that are in our lives, the facts that are telling us our bodies are out of shape, we're pre-diabetic, we're diabetic, we're overweight, we're fat, we're obese, or we're doing drugs, or we're slipping, our relationships are going to hell, our kids don't want to hang out with us, they may even be afraid of us, yelled at your wife one too many times, yelled at your partner one many times, threw dishes, behaved in some kind of a way unbecoming of who you are. Cursed God, the very entity that created you and loves you more than you love yourself. Cursed. I've been there. I have cursed God out. Fuck you, God. I hate you, God damn it. Fuck you. Why'd you do this to me? Blaming the wrong entity. I don't know about you, but I do know that there's someone out there. There are people out there who know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. You're who I'm talking to. Those of you who might have checked in and checked out said, what is this guy talking about? This man's lost his mind. He's crazy. Another one of them stupid, crazy people on the internet. I'm not your guy. Take your thoughts, keep on trucking, find your guy, find your gal. But for those of you who hear my voice, you know what I'm talking about. Been there. And then, of course, business. Money is what makes the world go around, right? I've had it, lost it, had money, lost it, making well over six figures, lost it, helped people make millions of dollars, didn't have anything to show for it, eventually ended up being homeless, living in my car, going through transitional housing through the VA, getting into workforce housing, eventually getting to a point of making over six figures again, getting tired of making other people millions of dollars. I mean, businessmen, people are like, we're like this. And then because technically they bring me on because of my legal skills, they bring me on because of my knowledge, but don't compensate me equally. I don't get a percentage of the business. They become multi millionaires, and I'm still making my six figures till I get sick of it, tired of making other people million when I know that I'm a billionaire. You ever know that you're something you just know with everything in you? You're a billionaire. I remember the day I realized I was greater than what I had the capacity to embrace. I had no problem feeling the energy of a millionaire, being a millionaire, so close to it at times, so close. Just touch. I ain't gonna lie to you. I could misrepresent and say, I've already been a millionaire. I'm worth millions of dollars right now. No, I stay in that six-figure bracket at the moment, but I'm a billionaire. And I can say that with facts, just like I could when I understood that I was a millionaire. I just hadn't expanded fully into that capacity. It's like letting one area of my domain slide or another area so that I could never fully rise up to my full power. Could advise millionaires, could interact with billionaires, but not manifested in my checking account because my focus was not correct. But I'll tell you when I knew I was a billionaire, just in case, and you billionaires out there who might be listening at this, maybe you'll relate to this, or you're almost billionaires, you millionaires out there who know that there's still more greatness inside of you. You know, platform LinkedIn, like a lot of connections, a lot of professional connections. And like I said, I've interacted with millionaires for as long as I can remember. But in one of my interactions, I got a chance to meet Susan Rockefeller temporarily, but Rockefeller. Susan Rockefeller. She used to be a Cohen. Then she became a Rockefeller. And I won't say we had this profound conversation and we became bosom buddies and all that kind of stuff. No, it was very cursory. But when I was networking, I networked with all these people and added them to my LinkedIn account. But when it came to Susan, I didn't have the courage to ask her to connect with me. We're attending this event. I have access to her, but I did not think I was worthy. I was pure. And I refused to reach out to her and ask. I was one day. But I'd been praying about it, and I was thinking, and I asked God about why I had this feeling. Or actually, no, I didn't ask God. I just remember what I was feeling. And I got a check in my spirit action and said, Eric, what are you doing? You're not millionaire. You're a billionaire. She's a billionaire. She's just a peer. She's one of your peers. So why wouldn't she want to connect with another billionaire? What is wrong with you? It's like, and I was walking to the beach. It was a morning. I was in the Philippines, and I was doing my morning walk. And I normally walk down to the beach and meditate, step into the water, and get all in a meditative state. And I'm one with the universe, and the universe is one with me. I'm one with the universe, and the universe is one with me. It's normally my practice. But before I got there, I was about halfway to my destination when I just stopped. I had my cell phone on me, and I reached out to Susan, sent her a message. I was like, and within 30 minutes of me sending the message, she had responded back and connected with me on LinkedIn. And if you were to go through my LinkedIn profile, you would see Susan Rockefeller as one of the people that I'm connected with. And I've never abused that contact. The most I've ever done is send positive thoughts, positive feelings in the direction from time to time. But that was when I broke through. That was when I pushed through. And that was when I realized I was no longer thinking like a millionaire, but that I had reached the capacity to own that I'm a billionaire. That I'm a billionaire. And the rest of me is just waiting to catch up. That part of me is waiting for the rest of me to catch up. The rest of me to catch up in my business, the rest of me to catch up in my processes and my automations and all the other things I do in my investments. But there's zero doubt who I am, who ruler in peace, that Imperium Rex, the devouring fire is in the area of interfaith dialogue, in the area of transformational coaching, in the area of business, in the area of being a disruptor. Now, what does this have to do with unlifing oneself? When I was telling you, you've got to break the silence. You've got to change and shift the momentum. Even now, even though I'm so far away from homelessness, and I'm sitting here, and this is going out live from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And I'm sitting in this luxury condominium in Desa Park City here in Kuala Lumpur. All you have to do is Google Desa Park City. I don't have to front. I don't have to showboat. I'm not one of these guys. And I did this before. I remember when I was first trying to do this online thing. It's like I found an abandoned house and I would do these videos. It's like while I was in the Philippines. It's like faking it until I make it. You can't fake it till you make it. I understand the concept, but there's no faking. There's just being. I had to get real with the facts of my life and I had to get raw with my feelings. I had to stop lying to myself and I had to stop lying to others. And when I did this, when I got real with the facts of my life, I'm fat. I'm not big boned. I'm fat. I'm sedating because I'm in so much pain and I'm using food to hide from my pain. I use alcohol sometimes. Fortunately, I never became an alcoholic. Food was my drug of choice, but I could have been. But for the grace of God, there go I. Sex, relationship, wanting someone to love me, hold me, accept me, distract me from being comfortable in my own skin because I've already been told I'm not good enough because of the pigmentation in my skin. I'm not good enough because of how I look. I'm not good enough for this reason or that reason. I'm not good enough because I'm not white. I'm not white enough. I'm not black enough. I'm not brown enough because I'm multi-ethnic. But letting go of the need to have it all figured out is really a power, not a weakness. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to take one more step forward. If you know what I'm talking about, drop me a message. I think that there's someone out there watching this right now who is like, I got to change. I need to start living my life by a code. I need to start living my life by a code. I need to stop lying to myself and I need to stop lying to others. And I need to get real with the facts in my life, what they say in my body, what they say in my relationship with God, what they say is like in my relationship with my significant other, my children, my siblings, my friends, my coworkers, my partners, my business partners. I'm a liar. I lie. I hide. If you believe in the Bible stories, or any of the creation stories of original man, woman, human beings. But I'll use the Bible because it's what I know. I know the Bible. I know the Torah. I know the Quran. It's like I am intimate with all of them. I have worshiped in all of these places and felt peace and love and tranquility. But what I love about Genesis, what I love about the creation story, about the Bible, I love a couple of things. One, I love that in the beginning it was darkness. We hide from our dark. But that was all there was in the beginning. And then God spoke, let there be light. And he separated the darkness from the light. And he didn't say one was good and one was bad. Man said that. Man said that one was good and one was bad. I say that they're both good because it creates contrast. And how can you know what the hell is good if you don't know what is quote unquote its opposite? And I won't call it bad because we are meaning making machines and we are experiential learners. And we learn from these experiences. But we want to condemn ourselves and hide in shame because of the dark things we've engaged in, the dark things we've done, the bad things, even condemning ourselves when we've done maybe some dastardly things, been a dick, been an asshole, been a bitch. But you know what? Contrast. You can only love as deeply as you've been in pain. Your capacity can only be what it is based off of the contrast. So one of the things I love about in the beginning is just that separation from light and dark, dark and light. But what have we done? We continually make people feel shame and we hide in our shame. And so we stay trapped. But God created me to be a bridge builder and a way maker. God created me to help build people bridges with the information they provide me, because the answers are not in me, they're in you. My job is to sit with you and help you pull it out of you. I am not a guru. I do not claim to know it all. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. And I know that there is a place of things that I don't know that I don't know. And I call that my magical playground, because that's where shit happens. The things that we don't know is where answers lie, where miracles lie. And it's just been a place I've been able to tap into when I practice law in everything that I do. I don't practice law anymore, and I still have people coming back to me knowing, Eric, I know that you were disbarred. I know that it's like you did some things that you regret and that you at one time would play down and pretend like was not a big deal. But the reality is, lying is a big deal, period. Even if we're just procrastinating, just misrepresenting the truth. You don't have to steal or embezzle money or whatever, but just lying is a big deal. Lying to a client who's trusting you and paying you money, procrastinating getting the work done. Those are big deals because they impact other people's lives. For all the great things I did do some shitty things, and I would like to play them down because I was not a bad guy, but I was a liar. Still can lie sometimes, but I fight it. My code is I stop lying to myself and I stop lying to others. So did I teach? Stop lying to yourself and stop lying to others. Get real and get it right. Stop lying to yourself and stop lying to others. Get real with the facts in your life and get raw with your feelings. Get honest and raw. Because when you do those four things, that's when you're operating in truth. And when you operate in truth, that's when God shows up. Because God shows up in truth. And when God shows up, that's when the real possibility for transformation happens. And you know what happens when you operate in truth and God is a part of that truth? You get relevant focus. So instead of focusing here and focusing there and focusing on this and focusing on that, and all these things can be good, but is it the relevant focus? Is it the right focus? You get that. You get relevant focus. And when you get relevant focus, you get results. And when you get results, you got freaking fruit from those results. And thus, I'm no longer homeless. And thus, I'm no longer dependent on other people. And thus, I'm self sufficient within reason. Because at any time, life is a continual pit to peak experience. It's like 1 minute you're content, the next minute is like it's time for you to expand, and you're back in another freaking pit. And you're going to have to navigate from where you are to what you want and where you want to be. And it's a continual life experience, pit to peak, disconnection, reconnection. Remember stuff, forget stuff. Learn, forget. Keep growing and growing and growing. And we keep growing and hopefully contributing to the lives of others until our energy transitions. Now, this thing has gone longer than I planned. I only planned on this was an impromptu live. But I'm going to leave you with the one shift that stops the spiral before it takes hold. Move immediately. Get up. Get outside. Change your location. Break the physical pattern. Remember what I started earlier about physiology, focus, and language? I learned, I'd love to take credit for this, but I have to give it to where it came from. Tony Robbins. The legendary Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins. Grandfather of a lot of this self-help, transformational. It's helped a lot of people. Some people love him, some people hate him. 1 thing that I did learn from Tony was That what shapes our moods, what shapes our state is our physiology, focus, and language. And so the reality is, if you really get deep into this stuff, you realize that we're all full of shit. We can be angry, we can be sad, we can be manipulative as hell because we have complete control over our physiology. We have complete control over the language that we're speaking in our head, and we have complete control over what we're focused on. So who controls those three? I do for me, you do for you. So anytime that we don't want to be pissed off, we can change it. If you're raging, change your focus, change your physiology. If you're feeling weak and sad and depressed and you're all down like this and your voice is all soft and you're forward, leaning forward and stuff like that, change your posture, pull your shoulders back, stand up. If you have to, stand up. Pull them shoulders back, stick that chest out, plant your feet solid on the ground. I can tell you something. When you stand in this position, it is impossible, I repeat, impossible, to express a wimpy, weak voice and have it resonate, have it feel right. And you change your language, what you keep telling yourself when you're thinking these thoughts, and you're focused. Stop focusing on that, focus on something else, get movement in something else. That moment has shifted, just like it did when I was trying to take that picture. And that can save your life. That can truly save your life or save the life of a friend. We are not victims. We are not trapped. We're not. We are powerful human beings, and we were created to take dominion over our lives in the area of our body, in the area of our relationship with God, in our area of our relationship with our significant others, those we procreate with, those we bring forward life with, our children, our offspring, those dear to us, those closest to us. And for those of you who may be homosexual, lesbian, transsexual, the whole alphabet out there, I can't speak to y'all. All I know how to do is love people. I can't be like a lot of the other people out there who hate someone because they're gay, hate someone because they're lesbian, or judge someone for this or judge someone for that. I don't know why I barely do all the things that I do. How the hell can I judge someone else for the things that they do, what they feel? All I can do is sit with curiosity and seek to learn and seek to understand and to seek to empower and to seek to uplift. And I don't think that God, as I understand God, wants anyone to feel less than, to feel excluded, to feel unloved, to feel unvalued, because the God that I worship, the God how I define God, says, I know every hair on your body before you were born. Is fire and brimstone? Yep, there are enough people out there who's going to preach it. Going to say that if you're a homosexual, if you're part of the alphabet soup that heterosexuals are not included in, you know what I'm talking about, the LGBTQIA plus, the Rainbow Coalition. And I don't mean that in a condescending way, because I like rainbows. I really do. I love the color of the prism. We are so focused on what makes us different that we can't freaking stay focused on what unites us. If you're not hurting me and you're not hurting anyone that I love, why the hell should I want to hurt you? Because you look different than me? Because you have different predispositions or desires? That's true for everybody on the fucking planet. And I'm tired of the hate. That's one thing that me and John Coffey, tying it back to John, have in common. tired of all the hate in this world, because that's where I got my suicidal ideations from. That's why I've wanted to kill myself so many times to escape the pain. And that's why so many people want to kill themselves to escape the pain. And I'm sick of that. I'm sick of people. I'm sick of people hurting other people just because they're different. And I'm sick of people believing that that somebody is not worth saving, is not worth being able to help unlock, to be a facilitator, to help them find their own path, their own bridge from their pit to their peak, no matter what the hell they're going through, whatever addiction, whatever. Now I don't know who's watching this, and I don't know who's hearing my voice, and I don't know when someone else will hear it, watch it. But if you hear me, if you hear my voice, and if what I'm saying resonates with you, I am ruler in peace, Imperium Rex. I have been ruler in peace for almost a decade. Where'd it come from? It came from my name. Eric comes from the German name Frederick. And on the German side, it means ruler in peace. On the Nordic side, it means eternal ruler. My name, Anthony. I thought it meant heart precious as gold. Everyone who knows me said that I have a big heart, a loving heart. But I later found out less than a year ago, that my name actually means intrinsic value, priceless one, that I have intrinsic value. And I think of all the years I spent my life looking to be appreciated, looking to be accepted, looking to be loved, only to discover that God loved me so much that he imprinted me with my name to tell me I am priceless, that I have intrinsic value in all the places outside of me that I was looking for love in all the wrong places, was a complete waste of my time, a complete waste of my energy, because everything I needed was inside of me, even though I don't always feel like that. And that's true for you too. And I'm here to help remind you of that, whether it be simply in this live, or whether it be on one-on-one coaching or one of my programs. I'm here to remind you of who you are. I'm here to give you an opportunity to learn to live your life by a code. I'm here to help you, help yourself, get the hell out of the pit you created for yourself. No one else created it, you did. And for those rare people who are my peacemakers, who know that they were called to be peacemakers, but before they can be a peacemaker to the world, they need to make peace with themselves and with their family. For my peacemakers, I have a one-on-one coaching program. I have programs to help you begin to make peace with yourself once and for all. All you have to do is directly contact me. I am a premium coach. I'm just being straightforward. This program is not for the weak. My coaching is not for the weak. My coaching is not for someone who wants a feel-good experience. Mm-hmm. What I offer is transformation, and transformation requires work. I did not go from 309 pounds to 187 pounds without going through the fire. I was ruler in peace, but I had to tap into Imperium Rex, the warrior energy, the dark energy inside of me. Again, I am a warrior. I am a gentle warrior, but I will cut your fucking head off if you get in the way of your own success. For those of you who are ready for real change in your life, for those of you who are sick and freaking tired of another year going by, and there's been no real forward momentum, sick and tired of suicidal ideation, sick and tired of just being the same, and you're willing to do the work, depending on where you are, depending on where you are, I have something that can help you. From an entry level, 2,000 to 3,000 price range, to six figures, 100,000, one-on-one. I have to focus on my premium customers, my premium clients, but I can't leave anybody behind. So even for those of you who only have a few $1,000s, and for those of you who are broke and been like me when I was broke and I wanted to be a part, I want to be that program, I want to be this, I want to learn this, I want to learn that. I ain't sugarcoating shit for you. I'm not lying to you. Been there, know what that feels like. I know wanting to just have an additional $3,000 on my credit card or $5,000 on my credit card. Wanting because I just know. But having to first start with the free content and just begin to apply it and see changes take place in my life. There's no such thing as FOMO. If you're really fear of missing out, if you don't know what FOMO stands for, if you really want to transform your life, God will make a way. Before my disbarred attorneys or my attorneys out there who know if they don't change their shit, you're going to get yourself into serious trouble. Or maybe you're somewhere in the middle, or maybe you're about to fall off the cliff again. My execs, my CEOs, my entrepreneurs, look, I've come a long way. And each time I press through, there's always something else trying to get in the way to slow down my progress, to slow down my trajectory. But I have learned how not to stop. And the core of it was stop lying to myself and stop lying to others. Getting real with the facts of my life and raw with my feelings so I could have relevant focus. This live started with just wanting to talk to people because I was just thinking about suicidal ideation. I did not plan on making a call for new clients, even though I have open enrollment right now. Everything happens for a reason. So I'm going to close this thing down now. If you've heard my voice and you know that I'm your guy, if you've heard my voice and you know that you're a peacemaker, if you've heard my voice, maybe you're not a peacemaker, but you know that you've got to change your life. You know that 2025, this is almost the end of the first quarter of 2025. You made some New Year's resolutions and those should just not happening. But you heard truth. When you stumbled onto this, you know what to do. Let's find out if we're a match. I don't take everybody. I'm only working with people who are willing to do the work. People who don't need convincing, don't need motivating. I am not a motivational coach. I don't have a motivational word for you. I'm not just going to say the right thing and make you feel good. You've got to work. You've got to follow and embrace the tools. But see, the tools aren't going to save you. My program's not going to save you. The work is going to save you. So the question becomes, are we a good fit? Do I like you? Do I feel like God is saying, yes, pour yourself into this human being? And do you feel like God is telling you, my God, where has he been? Yes, that's my mofo. That's my motherfucker. It's like, or that's my boy, or that's my prince, that's my king, that's my brother. I'm ruler in peace. I need to shut this down. I had so much other things I had planned on doing today. But anyway, it's like, I guess let me tie this off real quick with just start off on a very serious topic. You ever feel like unlifing yourself? I hope that you got some value from this. I hope that you realize that there's always a way beyond those feelings. They're just feelings. And I still get them. And I've made lots of money. And I live in a place that most people would dream of. And I have really beautiful experiences in life. Even spent the first week of Chinese New Year in Thailand this year, having a priceless experience. But even there, the first 2 days were hell. Pit to peak, pit to peak, pit to peak. But we all have to get real so that we can get it right. And if you're ready to get real and get it right, you know what to do. Peace.